World Wide Web on www.gbn.gd.
The news headlines is brought to you compliments GUT Credit Union.
Imagine having the home of your dreams. Imagine investing in that piece of property you can call your own. Imagine finally doing that home improvement project you've always been thinking about. It's time to stop imagining and start doing. Let the GUT Credit Union help you take the first step with fantastic rates, affordable repayments, and reduced legal fees. Make the move. Get better terms on your mortgage. Use your home equity to make those dreams a reality. Act now. There's really no place like home. GUT Credit Union. It's where you belong.
This is the GBN television news for Wednesday, the 18th of August, 2021. I'm Chrislyn, Lashington. In the headlines, vendors up in arms over fears that they may be made to pay a fee to use temporary facilities. Implementation Minister dismisses claims that vendors will be forced to take COVID vaccines and that the market will be privatized. Bar Association says investigation must precede any action against attorney following dust up involving attorney Jerry Edwin. President of the Senate Chester Humphrey tells GBN if he had the power, he would pull its broadcast license. Parents complain that electronic vouchers issued via cell phones too complicated. In around the globe, Cuban Medical Brigade in Guyana to manage COVID-19 intensive care unit, and the European Union says it will only cooperate if the Taliban respects fundamental principles, including women's rights. Coming up in sports, Nazio John is into the qualifying round of the 100 meters at the World Athletics Under 20 Championships in Nairobi, Kenya. And Chelsea Football Club scout impressed with under 13 talent in Grenada. Details right after this message.
GBN, in association with the Grenada Development Bank and the Agricultural Shop, presents the GBN exclusive Taking Agriculture Forward, a two-part 2-hour forum on August 11th and 18th from 8 p.m. on GBN Television 7 and 11, K105 FM, and on all GBN's social media platforms. This forum will discuss primary agriculture and opportunities, agricultural extension and support, challenges facing the sector, and policies and food system sustainability. Join us on August 11th and 18th as we speak to the experts on taking agriculture forward.
Good evening. This is GBN's news at 7. Vendors at the National Stadium are worried. They claim that they have been informed that they may soon have to pay a fee to occupy the space at the stadium. The vendors also claim that being vaccinated may also be one of the terms upon which they will be allowed to use the facility. Chrislyn John has been listening to their concerns and discussed their plight with Implementation Minister Norland Cox.
One vendor who requested her identity be concealed, speaking to GBN, says they need clarity on this since no government representatives spoke with them on any changes in this regard. GBN consulted Minister for Works and Infrastructure Norland Cox. He indicated that the stadium is not under the responsibility of the ministry, but rather that of the National Stadium Authority. Priority, he says, will be given to vendors who were displaced to obtain a booth at the new facility.
That is news to me. I cannot speak to that. I don't know anything about that. Just to say that the vendors at the market, market vendors at the stadium, I mean, we always want to commend them for them complying and moving and working along with us to ensure that their livelihood continue. So I just want to commend them for the continued support in that regard. However, the stadium is under the responsibility of the Stadium Authority. So we sought permission from Stadium Authority to place the vendors there until we can get them back into the market.
Privatization of the market is news to him, he says.
No, I have no knowledge of such. Well, that is news to me. We haven't had any expressions from anybody regarding such, written or otherwise. requiring to lease the vendors market. I mean, the market has significant historical value and what it means to Grenada. So I do not foresee something like that happening.
As it pertains to mandatory vaccination before occupying a space at the St. George's Market Square, he gave this response.
To reiterate again, it has been the government has been consistent as regards to vaccination. We are not there is no mandatory vaccination policy. We have been engaging in moral persuasion that the government, the ministry, we are not making vaccination mandatory at all in that regard. So that is, I do not have any knowledge of such, and that is not our policy as regards to that issue.
Vendors were relocated to the National Stadium car park to facilitate work at the St. George's Market Square. Over 60 individuals will inhabit the first sets of booths, with further construction on washroom facilities and additional booths to be undertaken. Chrislyn John, GBN News.
Brandishing a firearm and spitting obscenities in the heat of an altercation in the presence of a police officer. Jerry Edwin says he will do it all again if he has to, but his actions are not sitting well with the legal fraternity as the Grenada Bar Association awaits the outcome of any investigations against their colleague. Cherry and Blackman Stephen reports.
The Grenada Bar Association says it awaits the outcome of investigations against its member, Jerry Edwin, before taking appropriate action if deemed necessary, following an altercation that occurred last Thursday. The video, which has gone viral since surfacing on Facebook, has attracted the creation of several memes.
Hey, what's wrong with you? What are you doing in here? It's my father's house. He doesn't want you in here.
And much public interest, as it shows the outspoken lawyer drawing his firearm at an individual in a dwelling house in the south of the island. Justifying his actions during a press conference on Tuesday, the outspoken lawyer defended his actions, which he said was in the interest of his 82-year-old client, Jacob Marshall.
Break into someone's home. You cannot. And I, for one, I'm not looking to see who is standing with me. I'm not looking for consensus. If I see vulnerable people in danger, my sixth sense, this is not the lawyer. This is not Jerry Edwin, the lawyer. I did not go there as a lawyer. I went there as a citizen. And I will, anytime, every time, use whatever means I can to protect vulnerable people.
However, in the GBA issued statement, the legal fraternity said that while the circumstances giving rise to the content of the video are not yet known to the association, this video has caused grave concern to the members of the legal profession and the GBA as a professional organization. The association states emphatically that neither violence nor the threat of violence is condoned by the association, and it remains committed to the high standards of integrity, professionalism, and the rule of law. Nigel Stewart, the lawyer for the other party to Edwin's altercation, Derek Marshall, who is the son of Edwin's client, Jacob Marshall, said Edwin's behavior was irresponsible.
Why would you be so quick to take the action you took to ensure that Mr. Derek Marshall is denied access to his father to the point where you would pull out your firearm? Now, that to me was very responsible as an attorney, and you ought to know that when you're confronted in these sort of situations, and these things we always tell clients, especially if you practice criminal law, as I do sometimes, you walk away from the situation. But as we saw in the video, he was the heartbeat of the confrontation.
Cherry and Blackman Stephen, GBN News.
If the president of the Senate has his way, the Grenada Broadcasting Network will not have a license to broadcast to the people of Grenada and beyond. Senate President Chester Humphrey says if he was the chairman of the authority, which grants licenses, he would pull the GBN license. Senator Humphrey predicated his position based on GBN's coverage of the Juve sessions around Grenada last Monday. He called into GBN's Beyond the Headlines program to complain about the coverage, expressing dismay that the salty lyrics used by the Jab Jab were carried on the GBN Facebook page. Mr. Humphrey thinks that qualifies the GBN for a cancellation of its license.
Immediately called you and asked you if you were aware of this, and you said no, and I gave you the details of where you can go to get it. And soon thereafter, in fact, I don't think 5 minutes passed, the guy who was then streaming the thing live then began to say, GBN streaming live and direct, it is not responsible for what is being streamed, it is streaming what the people are saying. And I just shook my head in total amazement that a radio station, that a broadcast station, in fact, if I was the chairman of the Broadcast Authority, I would pull your license. If I was the chairman, and then let you come and appeal.
GBN's managing director, who is the host of the Beyond the Headlines program, acknowledged that she was contacted by Mr. Humphrey regarding the language being used by the Jab Jab while it was being live streamed on the GBN Facebook page. Mrs. Odette Campbell made it clear that none of this was broadcast on GBN television nor its radio stations, and that immediately upon receiving the complaint, she moved swiftly to have the matter addressed.
Senator Humphrey, it is imperative that when we're giving information that we are clear with how we relate that information. To say that the national station in Grenada carried such what would he want to call it, insults and some of the things that you accuse us of is not true. The national station, Grenada Broadcasting Network, which runs Classic Radio, K105, GBN Television, and Hot 98, never did. What happened was, my father would say, what happened was that the social media page of the GBN, we had a freelancer who was streaming on the page. When the matter was brought to my attention, as you quite alluded to, you called, I sought to have the matter rectified and to ensure that we ascribe, whether it's also on social media or not, to the highest broadcast standards that the GBN has set and continues to ascribe to. So I just wanted to make sure that we set the record straight. And Senator, let me thank you so much that from time to time you bring things to our attention, and we seek to ensure that we stick within the confines of the law and public decency. I hope that I have set the record straight.
Meanwhile, the public has responded to Health Minister Nicholas Steele ascribing blame to the media over what transpired in recent weeks. During a media conference on Tuesday, Minister Steele was asked about government's level of concern related to new cases of COVID-19 in Grenada and the host of recent illegal carnival activities. His response was a stinging rebuke on the local media.
Fingers have been pointed. During yesterday's post-cabinet press briefing, it was announced that 3 more COVID-19 cases have been identified, bringing the island's total to 19. When asked if there was concern that positive individuals attended carnival-like activities, Minister for Health Nicholas Steele chastised the media for promoting events.
Some radio stations have actively promoted those events, and then we get a GBN reporter asking me about whether we're concerned. I think the GBN reporter needs to ask their GBN management whether they promoted those events or not, and what they're going to do. How are they going to help the Ministry of Health and Contact Tracing now? Because they help the promoters to promote the events. What are they going to do to help the Ministry of Health to figure out who was there?
Since then, Grenadians have taken to social media to share their opinions on the minister's statement. Ricardo commented, "The carnival-like activities were inevitable. That's a fact. Majority will always prevail. The masses requested that no entry policies be implemented for the said period. If this was done by Parliament, the COVID-19 would not have reached our shores. This is blatant responsibility on our trusted authorities. Now they're trying to throw blame and responsibility on the said masses who said we are okay with no entry for the period. But our government loves money, so they keep the COVID-19 money coming in." Wendy wrote, "Grenadians head too hard and now they are blaming each other." Eric commented, "Minister Steele better get a checkup because I swear he's suffering from foot-in-mouth disease." Anastasia added, "Mr. Steele, I think you all should bring back 7 days quarantine, even if you are fully vaccinated due to the Delta variants." Linda asked, "So if the promoters got permission, who do you want to blame? Police and those involved in granting permission?" Vincent wrote, "As the records are showing, vaccinated people in Grenada have tested positive. Who gave permission for fully vaccinated events?" Salisha commented, "Folks, if we get an outbreak here, really and truly we can't blame the government. This is everyone's responsibility to protect themselves and families. Partying, always there. Music, go always play. It's the bigger and more important picture for me." This individual commented, "If he wants to talk stations, talk about SMC and all the virtual events they had with other stations, hyping up people. GBN didn't get a FET ad, except for Wagiti All-Inclusive, which was fully sanctioned." And this individual commented, "COVID committee gives approval for events. Events with fully vaccinated patrons can host an unlimited amount. Even the Prime Minister mentioned this in his last address. Promoters give media houses the ads. Ads are aired. Now the Health Minister is blaming media houses for advertising events? I don't understand."
This is News at 7. Coming up, many employers heeded the threat made by the National Insurance Scheme, but those who remain on the blacklist will be published at the end of this month. Stay with us.
Take your shot and get back to your life. Take your shot and get back to your life. Take your shot, take your shot, take your shot, get back to your life. Take your shot, take your shot, take your shot, get back to your life. Take your shot, take your shot, take your shot, get back to your life. Take your shot, take your shot, take your shot, get back to your life.
A message from Republic Bank.
Need a quick, convenient way to pay your bills and avoid lines? Use the online banking feature from Republic Bank, First Caribbean, or Co-op Bank. Contact them today to set up your online banking and enjoy 24-hour convenience to make your bill payments. Stay safe. Grenlec, we are united even when we are apart. Ridgeway Residences, a modern, exclusive residential community offered by Ariza. Purchase one of our completely built houses or let us build for you by simply choosing your lot, choosing your home design from our selection, and let us do the rest. Owning a home does not have to be a frustrating process. For more information, contact Ariza Credit Union on 415-0994 or send us an email on info@ridgewayresidences.gd. Ridgeway Residences, hassle-free home ownership.
It's time to prepare for an A+ this term with back-to-school deals from Quartz. Shop today for laptops, tablets, printers, and more for a chance to win $1,000 cash. Get it now with Quartz Ready Finance and pay nothing for 60 days. Save big with great deals only from Quartz, bringing value home.
Looking for a professional team offering around-the-clock, private and confidential nursing, medical care, and aid services? Then look no further. Nurses Care Grenada is a fully certified, insured, and licensed healthcare facility committed to the reduction and eventual elimination of healthcare disparities affecting the nation. Our registered nurses will visit you at your home, assess your condition, and provide the required treatment under the directive of a doctor. So why worry when there's Nurses Care Grenada? Give us a call, 406-3928. Nurses Care, reliable, trusted professionals we can all depend on.
GBN leads, the others follow. This segment is brought to you by Republic Bank.
Take your shot and get back to your life. Take your shot and get back to your life. Take your shot, take your shot, take your shot, get back to your life. Take your shot, take your shot, take your shot, get back to your life. Take your shot, take your shot, take your shot, get back to your life. Take your shot, take your shot, take your shot, get back to your life.
A message from Republic Bank.
Individuals are yet to familiarize themselves with the Ministry of Education's new digital system, which some say it is a somewhat tedious process. Minister with responsibility for school uniform assistance explained the process on Wednesday's To The Point program.
The School Uniform Assistance Program has taken on a new format. A cashless system has been introduced this year where persons can obtain school supplies by simply presenting a QR code sent to their phones. Minister in the Prime Minister's Ministry with responsibility for uniform assistance, Pamela Moses, says it is a small step. However, it's a step in the direction of shopping cashless.
So a family who have 2 students in secondary school and primary school, they would get about $4.50. So they would have that entire quantity of money on their phone in what is called a code, a quick response code, a QR code. And that photo of the code will be sent to their phones. Now, all the money being on it, they can shop $50 at the first store. They can buy 3 school shirts at the first store, and they can go to the second store to buy the shoes because they would have $400 remaining, and they can view that, they can see that.
Minister Moses says government has engaged a company out of Trinidad to assist with the process.
Our government signed an MOU with a company in Trinidad called WePay, and we must say that they have fully delivered. The CEO, Mr. Alwyn Wayne, he was recently here in Grenada in the last week of July when we launched the program, and they have upheld their end. You know, that company basically is like a MasterCard or a credit card company, and they have provided us with a secure payment platform. And that platform is now allowing Grenadians, people in Grenada, Carrico, Petit Martinique, to go shop on their cell phones. Now they also provide cards and things like that. And they have the opportunity to shop in person, or if they have a card, they can also shop online, and basically using a QR code.
The entire payment, she adds, will be received from $50 per primary school student to $150 per secondary school student. Applications were made online for the 2nd consecutive year. Minister Moses explained the amount given to successful applicants.
Right. Well, they will receive the entire payment, whether it is $100 or $450. The minimum is $50 for primary school. The maximum is $150 for secondary school. And the maximum per family is $450. So they would get all that money. They can go to the 3rd store where they would purchase their bags and things like that. And so they will see how the monies are being spent.
Chrislyn, John, GBN News.
A repeal and replacement of the Fiscal Responsibility Act was one of the recommendations made by the Fiscal Responsibility Oversight Committee as they held a media briefing on Wednesday.
The Fiscal Responsibility Report reviews the variance between the actual and targeted performance of government, as well as government's overall implementation of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. The Fiscal Responsibility Oversight Committee, FROC, was set up for the purpose of helping to ensure transparency and accountability in the effective implementation of government's fiscal policy in accordance with the fiscal rules and targets. In a media briefing held on Wednesday, Chairman Dr. E. Angus Friday spoke about the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and a negative economic growth, and how the Fiscal Responsibility Act has allowed the government to buffer the traumatic shock by invoking Phase 10, also known as the Escape Clause.
I think it's important to say that the Fiscal Responsibility Act has been absolutely essential, and thanks to the Fiscal Responsibility Act, there has been some level of buffer that the government has been able to build up, which has enabled the government to react positively during the time of COVID-19.
Dr. Friday explained that the COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted a number of areas of weakness of the FRA. Therefore, one of the recommendations made by the committee in going forward is its repeal and replacement.
However, as we have seen, there are aspects of the Fiscal Responsibility Act that need to be adjusted. This adjustment needs to take place in a number of different areas. So we want to uphold the idea of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. We want to call for its strengthening in certain ways. And we do this by calling for a repeal and replace of the Fiscal Responsibility Act.
He explained that the committee does not intend to scrap the act in its entirety.
We just want to emphasize that the Fiscal Responsibility Oversight Committee is not calling for a scrapping of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. We are calling for a review of the act, a comprehensive review, followed by a repealing of the act for the sole purpose of replacing it with improvements that would anticipate some of the future challenges that may lie ahead.
Other recommendations included a phased and targeted approach to attaining full compliance with the FRA, a green, resilient and inclusive recovery with continued fiscal prudence, and a need to diversify, decentralize and digitize to grow the economy while focusing on health, wellness and medical services, the agricultural sector, digital transformation and manufacturing. Trelawna Charles, GBN News.
While the managing body of the National Insurance Scheme is still intent on naming all non-compliant businesses publicly, they are also happy to announce that since their plans were made public, the list of non-compliant employers has dropped. Rena Payer-Thomas tells us more.
Officials from the National Insurance Scheme say that plans are already in place to name all businesses who fail to comply in paying employees NIS contributions. A list will be published in Grenada's local newspapers at the end of August. NIS Compliance Manager Ms. Franca Bell says that while this is so, the announcement of their plans in June has acted as a deterrent for many employers.
Since the post, and we've been sending letters to the employers, there was an increase in the amount of employers who came in to try to become compliant, okay? So the list as it stands now is not as big as we anticipated, okay? We have not published as yet, but we're hoping to do so by the end of the month, since we have a number of meetings scheduled with employers, okay? So we want to give everybody a chance so that they can become compliant. Okay, so we're hoping by the end of the month, the list will be out.
While the institution saw a drop in the non-compliance list, the compliance manager indicated that if any employer fails to comply over a given period, their name will be published, as the scheme will be doing this quarterly.
The list will be published ever so often. So sometime you might not make this list. That doesn't mean you wouldn't make a list down the road, because really and truly, we're hoping that the persons who came in and make arrangement to settle, that they will remain compliant, right? But if you do not remain compliant, you will be in the next list.
Bell reminded the business owners that failing to pay employees NIS contributions will not only affect their pension benefits, but will also affect those who are in need of the second unemployment benefit to be rolled out later in the year.
Employers, you have an obligation. You take the employee's money in trust, right? You need to pay it over to the fund. Right. Also, when you do not pay the contribution to the fund, you are putting people's pension in jeopardy. You understand? Because you could, somebody turns 60, they're thinking that all their contributions are here. And when they walk in here, they don't have enough contribution to qualify for a pension. It's unfair to that person because when you're paying a benefit, you're looking to make sure that the person is working and has contribution for the last how many weeks. So if we don't have it, you cannot get paid.
Franca Bell is also calling on employees to call the National Insurance Scheme to inquire about their NIS contributions. For GBN News, I am Marina Pett Thomas reporting.
From the thought process to the visual impact, let's take a peek through the GBN ISA lens.
A good eye captures all. GBN ISA is brought to you by ClearVision.
Hey, September is just around the corner, so let's see.
Booklets, check! Bag, check! Tablet, yes! Doctor, check! Eye check!
Claire Vision Eye Center is offering all students a free eye examination.
For the holiday?
Yeah, man, and they have the best prices on glasses. I hear they have glasses as low as $450.
But you know it's only for 1 month.
Boy, let me go, I can't miss that. Claire Vision Eye Center keeping students focused so that we can see the world with a clearer vision.
Tonight's GBN ISA submission features a fruit grown locally with a little twist. GBN's ISA reporter, Mr. Redhead, says it's another unique fruit from his farm. Won't mind helping with the unexpected extra piece. After all, it is a mango. Send us your photo and video submissions via WhatsApp on 405-3052 or our other social media platforms.
Can't complain with a little extra mango to go with, and it looks like it's growing even a third piece. Still ahead, the Grenada Tourism Authority launched a new initiative geared at preserving our coral reefs. This is News at 7.
You can win when you top it up, switch it up, sign it up, bundle easy wins with flow.
Catch the easy summer vibes with over $70,000 in cash and prizes. Just top up $15 or more. Activate a prepaid plan, switch to Flow, or bundle your home services to get your share of $70,000 in cash, data, Samsung Galaxy devices, shopping vouchers, and more.
You can win when you top it up, switch it up, sign it up, bundle up. Easy wins with Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
A whole new level of convenience and comfort awaits you when you shop at Rise and Shine Supermarket and Hardware Supplies, Griffin Lane, Grenville. Convenient, because we are open Sunday to Sunday. We're even at your service on public holidays. Comfort, because we are easily accessible to the physically challenged. Free Wi-Fi is available while you shop, and bags come at no charge. Everyday low prices and excellent customer care. Adequate parking available. We supply everything you can possibly think of. Family and home supplies, fresh meat, vegetables, and personal care products. All brands of cooking gas at affordable prices. You can send in your order, have it pulled, or pick up express.
Ridgeway Residences, a modern, exclusive residential community offered by Ariza. Purchase one of our completely built houses or let us build for you by simply choosing your lot, choosing your home design from our selection, and let us do the rest. Owning a home does not have to be a frustrating process. For more information, contact Ariza Credit Union on 415-0994 or send us an email on info@ridgewayresidences.gd. Ridgeway Residences, hassle-free home ownership.
I won! And you can win too on Sunday, August 22nd when you play Waggity Virtual Bingo. It's very simple and easy to play. Imagine for only $10 you can win $10,000. Now that's a lot of money. Playing in Grenada? Then get your tickets at gotovet.com or from any of our numerous box offices island-wide. If you're playing overseas, tickets are only available at gotovet.com. Sunday, August 22nd. Get ready to play the 27th edition of Waggity Virtual Bingo. It's the new way to play bingo.
This is GBN. We've got the means, the power, and the medium. This segment is brought to you by Flow.
You can win when you top it up, switch it up, sign it up, bundle up. Easy wins with Flow. Easy wins. Easy wins.
Catch the easy summer vibes with over $70,000 in cash and prizes. Just top up $15 or more. Activate a prepaid plan, switch to Flow, or bundle your home services to get your share of $70,000 in cash, data, Samsung Galaxy devices, shopping vouchers, and more.
You can win when you top it up, switch it up, sign it up, bundle up. Easy wins with Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
A series of scientific surveys on Grenada's reefs conducted annually over the last 10 years has demonstrated deterioration in reef health with significant coral loss. To find a solution to this, Dive Grenada, with the help of the Grenada Tourism Authority, has embarked on a project to solve the problem. Rena Pear-Thomas has more in this report.
The Grandance Artificial Reef Project is an intervention to preserve and promote marine ecosystem. The project is initiated to address the reef damage in the Grandance area by creating an artificial reef structure. Working with the Ministry of Fisheries Division in 2015, owner of Dive Grenada, Phil Say, was able to place 8 pyramids in the south end of Grandance for 12 months as a trial phase of the project. According to marine officials, the trial demonstrated significant marine life growth through the generation of coral reefs and more than 30 species of fish and invertebrates. On Wednesday, head of the Grandance Artificial Reef Project, Phil Say, with the help of the Grenada Tourism Authority and the Fisheries Division, announced that they will add 5 more pyramids to the now 35 located in the Grandance Bay.
We have 5 brand new pyramids which have been kindly sponsored and paid for by the Grenada Tourism Authority. So these are what I call my babies, yeah? So these will be installed into the Grandance Artificial Reef Project in about 2 weeks' time. We had more than just creating an artificial reef. We wanted it to be good for Grenada. So we actually wanted it to work in efficient and effective terms for becoming an artificial reef. We wanted to make sure that it included everybody, so we created livelihoods.
Say indicated that the project has also provided the opportunity to teach children about marine conservation and explained that it can also spark the interest of visitors as a major tourist attraction. The CEO of the Grenada Tourism Authority, Petra Roach, says they are happy to be part of the project and made a clarion call for Grenadians to play their part in creating a healthy environment.
What I would like to do is appeal to us as a nation and appeal to our visitors and appeal to future generations to also look at things that we can do to mitigate these risks. So we need to look at not using single-use plastics, because those single-use plastics, there are over 17.6 billion pounds that goes into the ocean.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Fisheries, Michael Stephen, welcomes the project as it will be beneficial to the sector.
I just want to congratulate Phil and Dive Grenada for this initiative, for the installation of these artificial reefs. As we know, reefs are very important in the fisheries sector. They protect the marine environment, they enhance the underwater marine environment, and they also protect the coastline. And as Phil would have said, without reefs, we would not have these lovely beaches.
The hope is that the project will expand beyond the south of the island and into other affected areas. For GBN News, I am Rena Pear Thomas reporting.
With us, the weather is up next and sports also.
We support you at every stage of your life.
For business,
For your education.
For your financial freedom.
For that new ride.
Upgrade your life with the Communal. Contact us today.
Prime Bundle. Get double the dedicated Sports Max data to enjoy the greatest sports event happening now. Live in the Sports Max app. Get a 30-day Digicel Prime Bundle today in the My Digicel app. Digicel, better together.
What does it take to be an amazing woman? Lots of me time. Amazing women are classy, fancy, and a little sassy. It's the drink for me. Cheers. Sometimes you've got to show them who's boss. Alpha male? Nah, alpha females are more amazing. Cheers to securing the bag. We make time for ourselves, for work, friends, and we certainly make time for passion. We're simply amazing. Amazing cream liqueur for the amazing woman in you.
Let's get tough on breed your larceny. It will destroy our economy. Larceny threatens our food security. Can hurt us locally, hurt us globally. To all the buyers, ask for license from all produce sellers. To all the people, 300 for police for them thieving fellas. To all the farmers, don't steal produce from your brother. Then you're selling to traffickers, hotels and street vendors. Nah, man. Let's do all we can to stop radio larceny. New vigilance, new laws, and a tough judiciary. Stop Grenada's organized business crime. It's time.
To report radio larceny, call 300.
Grenada, 1795. One man with a sense of destiny.
Tonight we stand our ground. Tonight we stand on the side of history.
14,000 slaves with a dream and a promise. Julian Fennell, a Heritage Theatre production, written and directed by Chris Derriggs.
Saturday 25th and Sunday 26th September, as well as Saturday 3rd and Sunday 4th October.
The Republic is about bread and justice. There'll be little bread and even less justice.
Julian Fennell, an action-packed historical drama. The play the nation has been waiting to see, with Samuel Gilvey, Lisa Grappy James, Robert White, and other top-of-the-line acting talents. Opening
Saturday 25th and Sunday 26th September.
Get your tickets now.
Keeping an eye on the weather. This is GBN. We've got you covered.
We always have you covered. Tonight's minimum temperature 26 degrees Celsius. The weather is expected to be partly cloudy, hazy and breezy with few brief showers and some fair spells. Winds east-northeasterly to easterly at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Seas moderate, waves 4 to 6 feet in open waters. Tides are high at 5 minutes to midnight and low at 7:25 a.m. On Thursday, sun will rise at 3 minutes to 6. Generally fair, hazy and windy, becoming partly cloudy at times with few brief showers, increasing in cloudiness overnight with few brief to widely scattered showers and the possible isolated thunder. Still looking ahead. On Friday, partly cloudy, hazy and breezy with few brief showers, becoming generally fair during the afternoon, becoming partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy overnight. Few brief to widely scattered showers and again the possible isolated thunder. On Saturday, final day of the week, partly cloudy to overcast with some brief to scattered showers and possible thunder. That's it for the weather forecast on GBN News.
Good evening, sporting fans. Nazio John competed today in the qualifying round of the 100 meters at the World Athletics Under-20 Championships in Nairobi, Kenya. He's into the final of the 100-meter race with a time of 10.32. Here's footage of his preliminary run.
As the rest of the athletes settle back into their blocks, so we've lane 2 Dimonte, lane 3 Wari, lane 4 Meluza, the fast Italian. We've lost lane 5, lane 6 Vidok of Poland, lane 7 John of Grenada, and lane 8 Gaseb, lane 9 Losanga. This is heat 5 of 6 of the men's 100 metres. And they are away this time, a fairly even start. You can see the Italian just getting into his running there. You can see Malonzo of Italy, but he was picked on the line by Vidok of Poland. Polish athlete holding his cool and driving all the way to the line with 10:48. And Maluzzo is second place and John in third place. So top 2 personal bests coming in have qualified automatically in those top 3, but it's a surprise, potentially a surprise victory for Oliver Vidok of Poland.
John, who is Grenada's lone competitor, will also compete in the 200-meter. Chelsea Football Club scout Angus Douglas was the special guest at the Grenada Football Association's National Parish Under-13 Boys Tournament matches held at Bellevue Playing Field, St. David on Saturday, August 14th. Douglas says he will be working along with the GFA in creating opportunities for the young players, development, adding that his purpose is to put together a scouting network for the GFA from the grassroots level, mirroring what is in the UK with Chelsea Football Club. Douglas said from as young as 8 up to about 17, they will create a scouting pathway and build profiles for boys and girls so that they can aspire to play for the national team and make it the best it can be. He added there could be opportunities for players to get scholarships to the UK and Europe, and that he is impressed with the talent he saw displayed at Bellevue. Fantastic array of talent on show today. I came in 2020 just before COVID, and the change that I have seen in this new competition, I've been really impressed by it, said Douglas. In match 1, St. Andrew Big Parish Stars was handed their first loss in the tournament by St. Mark Western Stars 3-2. In match 2, St. George Royal Cannons and St. Patrick Crown City Strikers played a closely contested match, which ended 4-3 in favor of the latter. In the final match of the day, St. John Dolphins continued their winning winning streak, beating St. David top strikers 6-2. Round 5 and the final round of matches in the inaugural National Parish Boys Under-13 tournament will be held on Saturday, August 21st at Queen's Park Ground to St. George. The winner will travel to Carriacou the following week to engage a combined Carriacou team in 2 friendly matches. Moving now to cricket, West Indies will open the defense of their 2020 World Cup title against arch-rivals England in a repeat of the sensational final 5 years ago in Mumbai. More in this TVJ Sports Report.
Defending champions West Indies will take on England in their first game of the International Cricket Council's Men's T20 World Cup at the Dubai International Stadium on Saturday, October 23. The two-time world champions will look to get the defense of their title off to a winning start in what will be a rematch of the 2016 final at Eden Gardens, which saw them snatch the title from England. The two teams had met twice at the 2016 tournament, with the Caribbean side coming away winners on both occasions by 6 and 4 wickets respectively. In fact, in 5 meetings at the World T20, the Windies have not lost to England, winning all their games. After their meeting with England, the West Indies will play South Africa on October 26, with games on October 29 and November 4 against 2 qualifiers yet to be determined. They will complete the group stage on November 6 against Australia at Abu Dhabi. The top 2 teams from each group will advance to the semi-finals set for November 10 and 11, with the final on November 14 in Dubai. West Indies are the only team to win a T20 World Cup twice, or the T20 World Cup twice. They did so in 2012 against Sri Lanka and 4 years later against England.
And that's sports. Stay with us for a look around the region. Welcome to your One Caribbean Media Hookup. I am your presenter, Beverly Telesford. A significant portion of the Cuban Medical Brigade that arrived in Guyana on Monday will manage the COVID-19 intensive care unit as the Ministry of Health gears itself for the inevitable arrival of the Delta variant. More in this TVJ report.
The Cuban Medical Brigade has been providing health services in areas such as family medicine, aesthetics, and general surgery to Guyana for over 44 years. However, in choosing the composition of this new brigade, priority was placed on the handling of the COVID-19 virus, especially in anticipation of the arrival of the Delta variant, the minister said.
We thought it would be best if we can complement it with the new doctors that are coming in from Cuba. And so we have asked them to send us at least 20 intensivists.
Thus far, the presence of the deadly Delta variant has been recorded and has become the dominant strain in over 140 countries around the world, including neighboring Trinidad and Tobago. But while it has been the consistent view of the minister that the Delta variant will eventually invade Guyana's borders, resulting in an upsurge in hospitalizations and deaths, it was divulged that Guyanese, especially those residing in Region 10, remain lackadaisical in accessing the COVID-19 vaccines.
In anticipation of a surge of Delta variant, where you can see a lot of admission coming very quickly, we thought that this would be the best use of our resources and to prioritize having a skill set in the intensive care unit. Again, while we are preparing for such a surge.
Since the commencement of the vaccination drive in February, Region 10 has been behind, with a mere 21% of its adult population receiving a first dose of the vaccine to date. Referring to the situation as unfortunate, the minister urged the regional authorities should do more to increase vaccination in that region.
When the Delta variant gets here, unvaccinated people are going to have a much difficult time. And we have the vaccines available, and we really need people to understand that it's necessary to get their vaccines.
Further afield, the EU bloc's foreign policy chief says the European Union will only cooperate with the Afghan government following the Taliban's return to power if it respects fundamental rights, including those of women, and prevents the use of Afghanistan's territory by terrorist organizations. The Al Jazeera's Jonah Hull reports.
Among NATO allies in Europe, there is a feeling of déjà vu. The looming threat of an Afghan exodus recalls the influx of more than 1 million refugees in 2015, most fleeing war in Syria, many even then from Afghanistan. It was a movement of people that reverberated politically, strengthening right-wing support across the continent. The direst consequence of the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan for Europe now would be a repeat.
The destabilization of Afghanistan risks causing irregular migration to Europe. France, as I've said, has and will continue to do its duty for those who are most threatened. But Afghans, in times to come, will need to muster their strength. Europe cannot shoulder the consequences alone.
Calls for humanitarian corridors and a coordinated European response by the likes of Emmanuel Macron and the outgoing German Chancellor Angela Merkel are likely to meet resistance from some countries. Greece has warned against again becoming the gateway to Europe. Austria plans to continue deporting failed asylum seekers back to Afghanistan. EU foreign ministers meeting to discuss the crisis are nowhere near consensus.
We have to ensure that the new political situation created in Afghanistan by the return of the Taliban does not lead to a large-scale migratory movement towards Europe.
Much will depend on the willingness of transit countries like Turkey to contain the flow, as it eventually did in 2016 after a deal that cost the EU $3.5 billion. Whether Afghans stay or flee in far greater numbers will depend on the Taliban.
And that was your One Caribbean Media Hookup. I was your presenter, Beverly Telesford.
Let's recap the headlines. Vendors up in arms over fears that they may be made to pay a fee to use temporary facilities. Implementation Minister dismisses claims that vendors will be forced to take COVID vaccines and that the market will be privatized. Bar Association says investigation must precede any action against attorney following dust-up involving attorney Jerry Edwin. President of the Senate Chester Humphrey tells GBN if he had the power, he would pull its broadcast license. Parents complain that electronic vouchers issued via cell phones too complicated. In around the globe, Cuban Medical Brigade in Guyana to manage COVID-19 intensive care unit. And the European Union says it will only cooperate with the Taliban if it respects fundamental principles, including women's rights. In sports, Nazio John is into the qualifying round of the 100 meters at the World Athletics Under-20 Championships in Kenya. And Chelsea Football Club scout impressed with under-13 talent in Grenada. If you missed any part of this newscast, a repeat of it will be broadcast at 10 o'clock tonight. Continue to follow us online at www.gbn.gd or on GBN Television's Facebook page and YouTube channel for these and other top stories. I'm Chrislyn Lashington. That's the news. We'll see you again. Good night.